In the busy town of Umuma, there lived a woman everyone talked about. Her name was Madame Amara, but people liked to call her Madame Chop 1, Chop 2. Madame Amara was very beautiful. She was tall and elegant. She had a tiny waist and full hips that made her dresses fit her like they were made in heaven. She loved to dress classy and a little bit sexy, but never in a way that looked cheap. Her clothes were always neat, bright, and well pressed. She walked hind heels that clicked proudly on the road when she walked. Her hair was always smooth and shining. When she smiled, people stopped to look at her. But it was not only her beauty that made people talk. Madame Amara cooked the best Nsala soup in the whole town. Her Nsala soup, also called white soup, had a smell that could make a hungry man forget his problems. The catfish inside was always fresh and soft. The spices were perfect. The pepper was just right. When she served it with hot pounded yam, people closed their eyes as they ate. Her small shop was beside Bright Future Secondary School. Every morning before school started, students lined up in front of her shop. Madam Chop 1, Chop 2, please give me small rice and white soup. One student would shout. Madam, add more meat, please, another would beg. Even the teachers from the school bought from her. Government workers from the local office came during lunch break. Bus drivers, traders, and even pastors stopped by. Her shop was always full. People used to joke, if you have not eaten Madame Amara's Nsala soup, you have not lived. Madame Amara would laugh and shake her head. It is just ordinary cooking, she would say, but it was not ordinary. Every night, when the town was quiet and most people were sleeping, Madame Amara did something strange. She did not cook in her shop kitchen at night. She carried her big pot, her fresh fish, spices, firewood, and water in a large basket. Then she quietly walked to the old graveyard at the edge of town. The graveyard was silent and cold. Tall trees stood like dark shadows. Old tombstones leaned to one side. The wind moved softly through the grass. In the middle of the graveyard was a small open space. That was where Madame Amara cooked. She would set up 3 stones and place her pot on top. She would light her fire. The flames would dance in the dark. The smell of Nsala soup would rise into the night air. But she did not cook alone. As the soup boiled, she would whisper strange words. Spirits of this land, she would say softly, bless this food, make it sweet, make it powerful, bring customers to me tomorrow. The wind would blow gently. Sometimes the fire would rise high without wood being added. Sometimes a soft sound like a whisper would pass through the trees. Madame Amara was never afraid. When she finished cooking, she would cover the pot and carry it back home before dawn. In the morning, she would reheat the soup in her shop as if nothing strange had happened, and people would eat. Business grew very fast. Soon she built a bigger shop. She bought a small car. She walked always well-dressed. Her heels became taller. Her perfumes became stronger. She moved with more pride. The students loved her. Some of them saved their pocket money just to eat her soup. Even those who did not have enough money would beg. Madam, please, I will pay tomorrow. She always smiled. Okay, my child, pay tomorrow. But something began to happen. Some students started falling sick. They complained of bad dreams. They said they saw shadows in their sleep. A few government workers began to lose weight. One teacher fainted during class. At first, nobody connected it to Madame Amara. How can sweet soup cause sickness, people said. One afternoon, a young boy named Chinedu, a senior student at Bright Future Secondary School, decided to find out something. Chinedu was a quiet boy. He liked to observe things. He noticed that Madame Amara's shop was always clean in the morning, but he never saw her cooking early. Where does she cook? He asked his friend Toby. Maybe she cooks very early before sunrise, Toby said. Chinedu shook his head. I wake up at 4 a.m. to read. I pass her shop sometimes. It is always dark. That night, Chinedu made a decision. He followed Madame Amara secretly. He hid behind a mango tree near her house. Around midnight, he saw her come out quietly with a big basket on her head. Chinedu's heart started beating fast. She walked within the old graveyard. Chinedu followed slowly, hiding behind bushes and trees. When he reached the graveyard, what he saw made his body shake. Madame Amara was cooking in the middle of the graves. The fire burned bright, the pot boiled, and she was talking softly into the air. "Spirits of this land, bless this food," she whispered. Suddenly, the wind blew hard. The fire rose high. Chinedu heard a low sound, like many voices murmuring together. He almost screamed. He ran back home as fast as he could. The next day he told his pastor, Pastor Daniel. Pastor Daniel was a calm and wise man. He listened carefully. "Are you sure of what you saw?" the pastor asked. "Yes, sir," Chinedu said. "She cooks in the graveyard." Pastor Daniel decided to see for himself. That night he went with 2 church elders. They hid behind the trees near the graveyard. Just as Chinedu said, Madam Mara came with her basket. She started cooking. She whispered her strange prayers. The pastor stepped forward. "Madam Mara," he shouted. She jumped in fear. The wooden spoon fell from her hand. "What are you doing here?" Pastor Daniel asked. Madam Amara's face changed. Her confident smile disappeared. I am just cooking," she said weakly. "In the graveyard?" one elder asked. The fire suddenly went off by itself. The wind stopped. Madam Mara fell on her knees and began to cry. "I only wanted success," she said. "When I started my business, nobody came. An old woman told me to cook here at night and ask the spirits to bless my food. Since then, my business has grown. I did not mean to harm anyone." Pastor Daniel looked at her sadly. "Success that comes from darkness will always bring darkness," he said. The next morning, news spread around town. People were shocked. "Madam Chop 1 Chop 2 cooks in the graveyard. No wonder people are falling sick." Students stopped going to her shop. Government workers avoided her. Her once busy shop became empty. Madam Amara sat alone in her shop. No laughter, no noise, no customers. Her beauty was still there, but her face looked tired. Her eyes were swollen from crying. After 3 days, she went to Pastor Daniel. "I want to change," she said softly. "I want to cook the right way. I want to be free from this." The pastor agreed to help her. They prayed with her. She confessed everything. She promised never to go back to the graveyard again. That night, instead of going to the graveyard, she stayed home. She threw away the old pot she used there. She cleaned her kitchen properly. The next morning she cooked Nsala soup in her shop for the first time. She did not whisper to spirits. She prayed simply, "God, bless the work of my hands." The first day, only 2 customers came. The second day, 5 people came. Slowly, people began to trust her again. Chinedu was the first student to buy from her after many weeks. "Madam," he said politely, "I hope everything is clean now." She nodded with tears in her eyes. Everything is clean. Her business grew again, but this time slowly and honestly. She still dressed classy and elegant. She still wore her high heels, but she became more humble. She greeted people with more kindness. She stopped chasing quick success. Years later, Madam Mara became known not only for her beauty and her sweet Nsala soup, but for her story. Parents told their children, "Do not look for fast success in dark places." Students would laugh and say, "Madam Chop 1 Chop 2 has changed," and she would smile gently. Her soup was still sweet, but this time it was clean, and her heart was clean too.